lemons complement our food and drinks with their fresh, astringent taste. 2,4-D, the major ingredient in the chemical defoliant Agent Orange, which was heavily used in the Vietnam War, has been implicated in birth defects and other serious health problems, is regularly applied to these lemons. The harvested lemons are quickly brought to a packing house in huge containers. There, they will be processed before shipping. First, the lemons are washed in a chlorine bath to sterilize them. To further clean the lemons, they are also washed in an alkali agent. These twice-washed lemons then proceed to the next step of the treatment process, where 2,4-D is sprayed over them. Why do the lemon packers continue to use this controversial chemical?
Don't you use 2,4-D?
2,4-D, it's on there, but that's only to keep it green. See this button right there? It gives a lemon life.
Yeah.
It keeps it from decaying internally. Once it goes into the pack, you start packing into the boxes, it will not be put on there.
Okay.
Because, for example, in Europe, they do not want 2,4-D.
2,4-D.
So when you get a wash, that eliminates that, dilutes it,
Okay.
and you don't have it anymore.
Okay.
It has a little bit in it.
Little bit to keep
Right.
those things.
It keeps it on there,
Right.
but still,
Access
you can.
shelf access.
The carton says it's got 2,4-D on there because you have to have it. Because if they find a little bit of it, the federal inspectors say, well, you got a little bit of chemical, you gotta have it on there. But it's diluted so much that it will not affect anything.
Here is a small hut that seems to be nothing special to look at. We were surprised to learn that it is in this building that the wax for coating the lemons is blended with 2,4-D and a neutral detergent. This mixture helps the 2,4-D to easily penetrate the lemon. The container holding the 2,4-D permanent wax is carelessly left lying outside the hut. You don't see a single word printed on these containers referring to their containing the hazardous chemical 2,4-D. The lemons treated with 2,4-D impregnated wax are put on a conveyor belt for screening. Unsaleable damaged lemons are separated from the ones that are to be shipped. The lemons are first stored in refrigerated warehouses as big as a gymnasium and stay there for from 1 to 6 months awaiting shipment. Just before shipment, the lemons are removed from the refrigerated warehouse, graded by size, and picked through so that any lemons that have spoiled during the long storage are removed. Here again, an alkali agent is sprayed on the fruits to sterilize them. The undamaged or apparently undamaged lemons that have been selected for shipment are given a shower to which a carcinogen OPP has been added. On top of that, the fruit are also treated with TBZ, which may cause infant deformities. The lemons, which have been treated in several ways to prevent the growth of mold and fungus, are now ready to be shipped. Traveling down a conveyor belt, these lemons are sent to the packing area. Some of these lemons are exported to Japan. 2,4-D is used in the treatment process. It is a major constituent in the infamous Agent Orange, used by the American military during the Vietnam War. It is a carcinogenic plant hormone. It has been discovered that the carcinogenic 2,4-D is sprayed on imported lemons. It is applied to prevent the fruit's top green bottom from coming off. By using this kind of dangerous pesticide as if it were merely a food additive is, in my opinion, extremely hazardous where people's health is concerned. In addition to lemons, OPP has also been detected in grapefruit, oranges, and a variety of processed foods made from these fruits. Besides these pesticides, benomyl, a carcinogenic fungicide, is also used. And finally, a little-known fungicide called imizarial, which is known to cause liver and kidney deterioration, is also applied. It is definitely the case that imizarial is used, but on the box label for these exported goods, not a word saying anything about the use of this chemical. Various pesticides are used in exporting and protecting citrus fruits such as lemons. Because this kind of post-harvest pesticide usage leaves a lot of pesticide residue in the food, it is currently a major issue. We might also do well to ask what kind of post-harvest pesticide is used on the grain we eat. This is a wheat farm in Australia. In Australia, an insecticide is used when wheat is to be stored for a long time. Let us see how it is used. Harvested wheat is brought to storage bins by truck. As the wheat is augured up to the bin, phenethrothion is added. This equipment is used in applying pesticides to wheat. It has obviously been in use for quite some time. When they removed the part where the phenethrothion is placed, a significant quantity of that chemical was caked onto the mechanism. We can clearly see that phenethrothion had been extensively used on this farm. We asked if the equipment could be set up again to show just how phenethrothion is applied.
Yep.
The wheat and phenethrothion are mixed together inside the apparatus. Wheat and pesticides. This manner of pesticide application is not unique to this farm. Under national guidance, pesticides should be applied whenever storage is to continue beyond 6 weeks. We asked Professor Satoshi Ishikawa of Kitasato University about the toxicity of organic phosphate pesticides such as phenethrothion. Organic phosphate pesticides like phenethrothion are poisons to the nervous system and can cause paralysis, as well as blindness. When just a small amount touches the skin or is ingested, a variety of allergic reactions are displayed, such as hypersensitivity to chemical products, for example. Now, let's conduct a couple of simple experiments using readily available wheat flour. What we have here is some wheat flour purchased in Australia containing 0.5 ppm of phenethrothion. We also have flour made from wheat grown in Japan. We introduced grain weevils to the piles of flour. Next day, all the weevils had collected around the Japanese-grown wheat flour, and none of them went near the imported flour. For the next experiment, we introduced 70 weevils to each of the 2 containers of the same wheat flours that we had investigated the day before. 3 days later, the weevils were crawling around actively on the pile of Japanese wheat. The weevils in a container of Australian wheat flour were all dead. In Australia, phenethrothion is used in storing wheat. In the United States, there are pesticides similar to phenethrothion that are used for wheat storage. Malathion and Redden are often used in this way. In the fall of 1989, we conducted interviews at the United States Food and Drug Administration, headquartered in Washington, D.C., about the use of Redden in post-harvest storage.
See, that powder may sublimate so that there wouldn't be any real residue left.
Sublimate means go away.
Yeah.
It evaporates.
Even though they say that Redden won't remain behind and all will sublimate, this is very hard to believe. The pesticide Redden can persist for up to 10 years. Strange how this American government agency did not seem to know much about post-harvest pesticides. Post-harvest pesticides can be detected not only in the food we consume directly, but also in the feed we give our cattle. Corn is often used as animal feed. To this corn, the fungicide TBZ and the pesticide Actelic are often applied. The United States Department of Agriculture issues an official evaluation of the toxicities of a variety of pesticides. 4 levels of toxicity are indicated, ranging from A, the strongest, down to D. Strongly toxic TBZ, whose residues remain behind in beef, is evaluated as B2. Also, actelic residue has been noted to remain in the grain for up to 21 months. Corn is used to feed chickens, cattle, and hogs, and pesticides are regularly mixed in with the grain. Not only does pesticide residue contaminate the food we consume directly, but it also contaminates beef, eggs, and milk through the feed. Soybeans are used in such familiar food products as soy sauce and tofu, as well as in many others. Today, our soybean supply depends mostly on importation. According to data provided by the National Research Council, these imported soybeans are ranked as the 10th riskiest product in the etiology of cancer. According to some research, 70% of the cause of such allergies as atopy, which has recently been on the rise in Japan, can be traced to soybeans. The most frequently used post-harvest pesticide for soybean is Bt, a bacterial pesticide. How safe is American rice to eat? Here we see small planes used for spraying pesticides over large tracts of farmland. A variety of pesticides were scattered around the landing site. The American rice growing region is particularly large. Consequently, the farmers cannot grow their rice without using herbicides. No residences are located close to the farming fields, so the farmers can use very strong pesticides with apparent impunity. Parathion is so toxic that 10 years ago it was banned for sale in Japan. In America, however, this chemical is sprayed from the air even today. The harvested rice is stored in bins. In California, modern large-capacity storage facilities are lined up, and even for long-term storage, the farmers use only fumigation, so residues from pesticides is minimal. Nevertheless, many American rice growers located in south-central states still use malathion and other pesticides in their smaller storage bins. There are problems in how these bins are constructed. Looking inside, you can see light streaming through a small number of openings. Because insects can enter through these gaps, the farmers are forced to use insecticides. Also, because insects and other pests thrive in the grass that grows around the storage bins, the stored grain can be easily attacked. We visited some grain exporting facilities in the New Orleans area. Right away, we saw a tank for storing insecticides. Here again, grain bound for the Soviet Union and Eastern Europe is treated with insecticides prior to export. On the tank of insecticides, we saw a label indicating that malathion was being stored there. When the grain is moved from the grain exporting facility to the ship docked alongside, it is liable to be rained on because there is so little protection from the weather. The grain can be easily spoiled. Wet grain promotes the growth of mold and fungi, so fungicides are used.
I believe that the post-harvest practices of mixing pesticides with the spreading pesticides is actually a violation of the law. But the Japanese government has yet to do anything about it. I think that current trade friction is one of the reasons why the government has done nothing. At the GATT conference, the United States is trying to establish international food safety standards. I think that we have to move in such a way as to standardize these things in an internationally safe direction.
This is the Environmental Health Center, located in Dallas, Texas. This facility provides treatment and conducts research in the area of chemical hypersensitivity produced by environmental contamination. This patient has displayed the symptoms of chemical hypersensitivity for about 20 years. Her hands are always uncontrollably shaking. Her hypersensitivity has gradually increased to the point where these days there are only 20 food items that this lady is able to eat. Using vitamin C injections, the trembling of her hands can be brought under control for about 2 weeks. The absence of pesticides is no longer the prime concern for this woman. This man also suffers from hypersensitivity. Chemical hypersensitivity displays a variety of symptoms, often starting off with something that seems like nothing more than a bad cold. It is caused by repeatedly injecting small amounts of offending chemical. The Environmental Health Center's Dr. William J. Ray says this.
What is the percentage of the pesticides?
Oh, I think about 80% of them are by challenge tests sensitive to pesticides. Maybe higher, it could be more.
80%か、それ以上いるかもしれませんが。
Let's warn the Japanese consumer that they should be demanding food that is free of pesticides, herbicides, and fungicides.
What we must seriously consider now is just how much we can eliminate pesticides from the treatment of agricultural products. One area where post-harvest pesticides can be eliminated is in storage. The generation of insects and other pests can be prevented by keeping the storage areas clean. Also, sealing the openings in the bins and other storage facilities will stop penetration by many kinds of pests, and that will reduce the usage of insecticides. This is a beneficial insect company located in Central California. In the case of wheat, grain weevils are a notorious insect pest, so Rincon Vitova raises insects that feed on these weevils without doing any damage to the wheat. In this way, the use of insecticides can be eliminated. This company manufactures Dryacide in Australia. Dryacide is a powder made from loam. The Dryacide is mixed in with the wheat, and the insects living in the grain become dehydrated and die. This dissectant is used on animal feed. Now, we will show you an organic lemon farm where pesticide use is strictly forbidden. Here, we would like you to pay attention to the post-harvest treatment of the fruit. The farmers do not wash the lemons prior to shipment, nor do they wax the fruit. Rather, they ship their lemons only after grading them. We want to introduce you to an export facility located in Perth, Australia. Notice the pipe that runs down the center of the storage area. This pipe carries carbon dioxide gas. This is an example of reducing treatment with pesticides through the use of a gas that deprives the pests of oxygen. In addition, with the use of deoxidizers and nitrogen atmosphere cold storage for grain products, efforts toward the elimination of post-harvest pesticides have gradually begun. I have been researching post-harvest pesticides for 3 years now. Post-harvest pesticides are used because they are the cheapest method of protecting stored foods. Eliminating these pesticides will slightly increase the cost of storage, but it is now possible to eliminate pesticide usage. Don't you agree that it is essential that we choose to do away with 2,4-D?